of Islam and the inventions and medicine and technology and industrialization. Who produced all this? It was the Muslims. These are conveniently forgotten. If we sit here and go into some of the fields, some of medicine, or maths even, astrology even, navigation, satellite navigation. Even now, let's not even look at the history. The hero of Pakistan is under house arrest. Who's the hero of Pakistan? A.Q. Khan. Nobody from Pakistan can tell me A.Q. Khan is a seller. Nobody. But yet today he's under house arrest. These people have the potential of building nuclear technology. They're people who are good in the field. Good in the field. The problem is that our countries, we get brain dump. What do you mean by brain dump? That someone, he will get to a particular level, and then the system will not allow him to flourish. The system will want to curb him. The system will not reward him. The system will want to use him for their own means. This guy gets fed up, and he leaves the country, and he goes elsewhere. And you have brain dump. All that knowledge, all that intellectual wealth is taken from one part of the land and taken somewhere else. And you'll see this is often the problem. Why is it the dream of every person in the East, under the present system, that they want to come to the West? Why? Believe you me, it's not because of the human rights record of the West. Believe you me, it's not that. It's not because of accountability. It's just they want to go and have a chance at life. Because they know when they get to a particular level, that's it for them. Islam actually came to solve some of these issues. Let's just look at building the economy of Pakistan. You have a lot of people, laborers there. You give them a tractor and say, okay, you dig out iron ore now for the defense. You start digging out iron ore. I will pay you, you dig out iron ore. So the man, he starts digging out iron ore. Some of the postgraduates, you say to them, I want you to do a research on the qualities of iron ore. What are the qualities? How can we use iron ore? What are the different, what different points can we use iron ore? He will go and he will do his PhD. You're solving the education problem, you're solving the defense problem, you're solving the economic problem by paying the labourer. Who knows? But yet he knows how to dig with the tractor and digging out iron ore. And you positioned yourself, Pakistan positioned itself on the international scene because it's building its economy around defense. Now this is coming from a man who runs a restaurant and runs a design consultancy. So you can imagine more enlightened people than myself who actually are experts in this field, to what extent and what not, and to what heights they can go to. And these are simple, basic rules that Islam starts building the equation from, that we're here to solve man's problem. We're not here to solve a particular type of people's problem or a particular belief's problem. We're here to solve man's problem. And to solve man's problem, you look at what does man need. And you start the whole economic question from there, you start structuring your society from there, and it solves this problem. So this thing about Islam is the old age and it can't solve problem. It's just another stereotype that's attached to Islam to really give Islam a bad name. And I don't mean this in any way from a point of conspiracy. Really, if you go and look at the political text now, every magazine, political magazine, will start talking about how Islam is rising, how political Islam is rising. Every magazine will talk about this. Go and do your own research. And why is that? And then political Islam will be muddied. Will be muddied with extremists and terrorists. And all sorts of theories, weird and wonderful, that these people turn to terrorism because the economic situation is not good. These people turn to terrorism because they don't agree with democracy. These people turn to terrorism because they don't agree with Western values. These people turn to terrorism because X, Y, and Z. These people turn to terrorism because they don't like eating lentils for their evening meal. It's ridiculous. So we really need to start focusing on the real issue. The real issue is that there is a wave, a tide of rising Islam, political Islam, that's challenging, coming as a challenge to the world. And these are not from words of a Muslim. Go read the political analyst's view on Islam and their world. Go read the Foreign Affairs journal. Go read these journals. What is the biggest threat? What's the biggest threat to America today, Pakistan? Is if the extremists get their hands on the nuclear weapons. That's his biggest threat. If extremists get their hands on nuclear weapons. That's his justification. So, Benazir's entry is that I will fight the war on terror. I will fight these extremists. I will engage them through democracy. Where are the extremists? Who are the extremists? The guys wearing the black suits and black ties with white shirts in Lahore? I call them judges, not extremists. Who are they? So really, this whole thing about Sharia being applicable, I would advise the audience to go and look at some of these, look at the history of Islam. It's not plagued with blood. It's not plagued with swords. It's not plagued with backwardness. Islam came to solve man's problems. And man's problems 1400 years ago are still man's problems today. Man, he eats, he sleeps, he sits, he interacts. He's a social being. She's a social being. And Islam came to address these actions. So Islam can solve all the problems, whole spectrum, from the social aspect right to the political aspect, if we actually look into it and what it offers.
Okay, I've got one or two contracting arguments for Lindsay, and if you want to make any announcements on this. First of all, it says you can only need to look at Iran as the best example in the world today. It's doing well both economically and democratically. The president of Iran himself had no military background whatsoever, yet he was voted by the people of Iran. The other one says socialism doesn't work. That is why those parties who champion socialism don't get into power in Britain. That is also why Labour shifted right and became New Labour. It is not a viable solution. So what do you say to this contrast?
Well, on the subject of does socialism work, I was just to say, does anybody here ever use the National Health Service? Get some free healthcare? Because that is socialism in action right there. We've had to talk about the problem of illiteracy before, and you see in Venezuela we have President Hugo Chavez there. He's talking about socialism. He's nationalising Venezuela's oil wealth and using it to fund social programs, using it to solve the problems of illiteracy, healthcare and such like. And the point about how we see socialism, well, be honest, when I came up and identified as a socialist, how many of you were thinking, what, like Russia, North Korea? Because, this is the same thing that we were talking about just now, the image and the media of it. You look in the media and the picture that's always drawn all the time when people talk about Islam in a political sense is, it's terrorism, it's extremism, and I know from my studies that this really is false. I've studied the Ottoman Empire myself, and I was really struck by, what a liberal, tolerant system existed there. I was thinking that if I had to choose of any historical system to live under, well, that wouldn't be very low on my list. I'd be quite happy living there. But the thing is, socialism has been completely misrepresented in the media as well. When people talk about socialism, it's always, it didn't work in Russia and so on. Well, we've got the NHS here, that's socialism in action. And the working class, historically, has won so many battles. For instance, this year is the 60th anniversary of the birth of Pakistan, as we heard earlier. It's also the 200th anniversary of the abolition of the slave trade. And we've heard all this stuff about how that's William Wilberforce achieved that. Well, no, it was a massive struggle by the slaves themselves and by the working class, particularly in France and Britain, that helped achieve that. So, when you talk about what does socialism mean in practice, well, it's talking about tax, use it to fund public services. There really isn't much difference in what we're talking about here. We're just kind of coming at it from two different mindsets, but we've got the same basic goal of a more equal society. And the fact that we've had careerists like Tony Blair and Gordon Brown take over the Labour Party, well, this is a lesson that has to be learned. And future formations of the working class have got to bear this in mind. And when I say the working class, what I mean there is people who, when they get money to buy food to put in their mouth, that money comes from having worked. From having gone to a factory, from having gone to a print shop, a textiles mill, a farm or whatever, and actually done some work to create the wealth that society needs. And that is what gives the working class its power, that all the wealth in society is created by the working class. And there have been setbacks in the past for the working class. There's been setbacks in the past for Muslims, and I think that as a working class, white, British male, I've got far more in common with a working